everybody, it's Tiffany, and I want to talk to you for just a couple of minutes today about scraps, right? Paper tends to be the #1 challenge for people getting organized, and if you have problems organizing your paper, you probably also have trouble organizing your scraps, right? So I want to give you a few tips and then a few great products for getting your scraps organized. So my first tip to you is choose a minimum scrap size, right? If I had to ask all of you who are watching this, how many of you have enough paper that if you got to scrapbook a little bit every day for the rest of your lives, you'd never run out of paper? Most of you would put a hand up, right? So why are you keeping little tiny scraps of paper? You need to use up that paper. Scrapbooking, paper crafting, mixed media, all of those things, these are all fashion-forward hobbies, right? Colors, textures, design, all of that stuff. The colors are the styles, they're all relevant to what's happening in the world today, in fashion today, right? Colors change. You know, if you look at paper that you bought 10 years ago, some of it you just look at it and go, what was I thinking? This is hideous. Well, 10 years ago it was amazing. 3 years ago, everything had chevrons on it, right? Not anymore. Fashion forward. So you want to use the paper that you love. You don't want to keep little tiny scraps of paper. So let's go back to my first tip. Choose your minimum scrap size. What is the size that really is reasonable for you to use? Is it 6 by 12? Anything that's not 6 by 12 or bigger, you're going to get rid of. Is your minimum scrap size 4 by 6? And I would say that's the minimum. I know some of you are going to go, I need a 2 by 2. I'm a card maker. I want 1 by 1. But really, you have all this amazing paper. Don't spend your time digging through tiny little scraps. So choose a size that works best for you. Maybe it's 2 by 2 or 3 by 4, 4 by 6 or 6 by 6. And when you're finished with a project, get rid of anything that doesn't fit your minimum scrap size. Now, how are you going to stick with that scrap size? You got to write yourself a note. My minimum scrap size is 4 by 6, and put it up on the bulletin board or on the wall in your workspace. Your brain loves knowing what the rules are, and then it loves to follow those rules. So if you pick a size, post it up, and then it's going to be so much easier to stick with that. So of course there's going to be times when you stray from that. So if you have some piece of paper that's really kind of amazing or unique, right? Green glitter paper, woo! Right? So you probably don't have tons of glitter paper. If you get this down to a 2 by 2 square, you might want to keep that because it's kind of amazing and unique. But you don't need to keep a 2 by 2 square of grass green paper. Okay? So pick your minimum scrap size. That's the first thing I want you to do. The next thing I want you to do is when you're organizing your scraps, I want you to stack them in order, smallest to largest, so that when you look at something like this, you can see smallest to largest what you have available in whatever storage tool you're going to use. And I'm going to talk about storage tools in just a minute. But even when I slip this large scrap in, I'm going to put it between these, and now I'm going to be able to see a little bit of everything that I've got, right up to those sizes. So that's your second tip. Store things. Little guys in the front, bigger things in the back. It's totally worth taking an extra second when you put those things away. The third tip, and probably the most important tip about organizing your scraps, is you want to organize your scraps the same way that you organize your paper, and hopefully you're using the 4-section system. It's only 3 sections with paper, but you've got rainbow, you've got themes and sentiments, and then you've got the calendar year. So you want to keep your scraps for Christmas, or your scraps for yellow, or your scraps for football all together with your football paper, your yellow scraps. And that way, when you need something that's yellow, you're going to be able to go right to yellow, pull that scrap folder out and choose it, rather than having to go somewhere else looking for yellow scraps, right? So organize your scraps by theme, color, or calendar year. Right in with your paper. So it doesn't matter, and you can organize 8.5 by 11, 12 by 12, 6 by 6, 8 by 8, 4 by 6, all those paper sizes together right there with your scraps as well. Okay, how are you going to do that? Well, there's a couple of great storage solutions for organizing scraps. The first one I want to share with you is called the Scrap Master. So this is a 12 by 12 folder that has paper in the middle. This is a 12 by 12 folder that has a big slash pocket on the front and a big slash pocket on the back, right? And then on the inside, another big pocket, and then you've got 3 smaller pockets. Now the smaller pockets on this side are all gusseted, so you can really load them up with scraps by size. So you can see, I don't know if it's hard to see with the camera because it's clear plastic, but you can see how that gussets out quite a bit. So it's really easy to store a lot of scraps, a lot of smaller scraps in those 3 pockets. And then you've got this wide spine right here. So when those pockets are full, you're going to still be able to fit, you should still be able to close up your folder, right? So the Scrap Master is perfect. Again, you can store by color. If you had Christmas scraps or Halloween scraps or whatever, you want to keep those all together, so you would literally create a folder that was all of those things. Now, if you don't have tons of scraps and it's not all gusseted out there, you actually can store your full-size sheets of paper. Again, in this situation, I'm talking about yellow. So I've got yellow 12 by 12. I've got printed and patterned. That's mostly yellow. I've got yellow 8.5 by 11. And now I've got that whole folder. I've got my scraps, my yellow paper, everything's in there, everything's together. I'm going to throw a label on it, and then I'm going to be able to store it in any one of our 12 by 12 paper storage boxes. So this is the paper handler, has little pull-up handles on it, so it's easy to take with you if you go to crafting events. It's going to fit in that. It's going to fit in our standard 12 by 12 paper storage box. And it's also going to fit in our 12 by 12 fab file. So for those of you who need a lid and a handle, right, maybe you store your paper somewhere other than your craft room, or you always are traveling with your stuff, the fab files are perfect for that, but those are going to fit in there as well. Okay? So the Scrap Master, designed to help you master your scraps, works like a large 12 by 12 file folder and is going to fit in any of these storage options. Next up, we have the paper pocket, which is what you saw right here. And this is just a heavy plastic pocket. It's got a little tab at the end, so you can put it slide it right in with your paper, in this case green. I've got all my green scraps in there. This, again, is going to fit in the paper storage boxes or the paper handler. The tab is too wide for it to fit in the fab file. But perfect little tab, going to stick over the edge, so you can use a paper pocket. Now, the upside to the paper pocket is it's really easy. You just throw your scraps in there, and hopefully you're putting your smaller ones in the front, like I talked about earlier. But everything's together in one place. You got to kind of dump it out to see all the different scraps that you have. But it is quick, fast, and easy. The counterpart to that is what we call the collection keeper. And the collection keeper has 3 pockets on the front. You can see 7 1/4 by 6 1/2, 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, 12 by 6, and then it has a big 12 by 12 pocket on the back. So the collection keeper, if you wanted to divide up your scraps by size, bigger scraps in the back, this is also going to be really easy to use right in your paper storage box or your paper handler. Again, theme, color, or calendar year, holiday season on that one as well. So these are all sort of designed around bigger scraps, right? They're going to work for 12 by 12 scraps, 12 by 6 scraps. Those are going to fit in nice and neat and easy. We also have for small scrap storage. So some people like to keep their scraps separate, right? So this actual product was designed to organize Kiwi Lane tracing templates, so you may be familiar with it if you use Kiwi Lane, but there is a love affair going on with it right now for scrap storage because the little pockets are the perfect sizes and shapes for most sizes and shapes of scraps. So these are 12.5 inches long, 6 inches tall, and you can see, so this is a triple pocket. It's got smaller scraps. You got an 8-inch 8 by 6 pocket here, 4 by 6 pocket here. These are 2 6 by 6 pockets. And then, of course, we have a border scrap pocket here, which is 2 different widths of 12-inch long pockets. So great for those trimmings off your 12 by 6 or your 12 by 12 paper. And then this is just one big 6 by 12 pocket. So again, a half a sheet of paper is going to fit in there. And then you've got also the longer, different types of pockets in there also. So perfect for keeping your scraps if you want to keep them separately. And then again, if you're using the box and the pockets, I would again recommend that you do them by color, by theme, or by holiday, or sentiment, or theme, or whatever keep those things grouped together so they're easy to find. You can add a little sticky note to the top of the pocket. You're going to know exactly what you've got. So when we're talking about scrap storage, what do you want to do? You want to put your smallest scraps in the front, whatever you're using, so you get the best visual on them. You want to choose a minimum scrap size, so when you're finished with the project, anything that doesn't meet your minimum either goes in recycle or your donate bin. And then last but not least, you want to keep your scraps organized the same way you have your paper organized. The rainbow, themes and sentiments, and then of course the calendar year. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you found this little tidbit of information helpful, and I hope you get those scraps organized so that you use them well. See you soon.